I used to believe that being a good husband and father meant providing for my family without complaint. For 3 years, I paid every single bill in our house, while my wife and 2 daughters slowly pushed me out of their lives. They called everything girls only. Vacations, dinners, movie nights, even holidays became exclusive events where I was not welcome. Then came my 40th birthday. They forgot it completely. And when I finally spoke up, my wife looked me in the eyes and said she wished I would just leave. Before I share what happened next, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe if you have not already. Trust me, you are going to want to hear how this story ends. Now let me take you back to where it all started. I met my wife Denise when we were both 22 years old, working at the same accounting firm in Portland, Oregon. She had this bright smile and a sharp wit that drew me in immediately. We dated for 2 years before I proposed, and we got married in a small ceremony at her parents' backyard. It was simple but beautiful, and I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. Our first daughter, Brooke, came along 3 years into our marriage. Madison followed 2 years after that. Watching Denise hold our daughters for the first time, I made a silent promise to myself. I would give them everything. I would work as hard as necessary to make sure they never wanted for anything. And I kept that promise. I worked my way up from a junior accountant to a senior financial analyst. The hours were brutal. I left the house at 6:30 in the morning and often did not return until 8 or 9 at night. But I told myself it was worth it. The 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, the good school district, the family vacations to Disneyland, and the Grand Canyon, all of it came from those long hours. Denise stopped working after Madison was born. She said she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I supported that decision completely. I figured it made sense. Someone needed to be there for the girls, and I was already gone so much for work. So I became the sole provider, and Denise became the heart of our home. For a long time it worked, or at least I thought it did. The first time I heard the phrase girls only was about 3 years ago when Brooke was 15 and Madison was 13. Denise announced one Friday evening that she was taking the girls to Seattle for the weekend. Shopping, spa treatments, fancy dinners. When I asked what time we were leaving, she laughed. "Sorry, honey," she said. "This is a girls-only trip. You would be bored anyway." I remember feeling a small sting, but I brushed it off. They deserved some bonding time. I had been working so much lately. Maybe it would be good for them to have a weekend without me dragging them down with my exhaustion. So I stayed home. I caught up on some work, watched some football, ordered pizza. It was fine. When they came back Sunday night, they were all glowing, showing me photos and shopping bags. I smiled and asked about their adventures. Everything seemed normal. But then it happened again, and again, and again. The Seattle trip became a monthly tradition. Girls only, Denise always said. Then the weekly dinners started. Every Wednesday night they would go to a different restaurant while I ate leftovers alone at the kitchen table. Girls only. Friday movie nights at the theater became exclusive too. I offered to join once and Madison actually rolled her eyes. "Dad," she said, "you would not even like the movies we watch." I tried to suggest alternatives. How about we all go see something together? I could pick a movie everyone would enjoy. But Denise shut it down quickly. "The girls and I already have our thing," she said. "You can find your own thing." My own thing. As if I was a roommate instead of a husband and father. I started noticing other patterns. When Brooke had her school plays, I would find out about them the day before or sometimes the day after. When Madison made the varsity soccer team, Denise took her out to celebrate without mentioning it to me, until I saw the photos on social media. I was being systematically removed from their lives one event at a time. But I kept paying. The mortgage, the utilities, the car payments, the insurance, the credit card bills, for all those shopping trips and dinners and spa weekends. Every 2 weeks, my paycheck went into our joint account, and every 2 weeks, it disappeared into expenses that supported a family life I was no longer part of. I tried talking to Denise about it. I picked a quiet Sunday morning when the girls were still asleep. I made her coffee and sat down across from her at the kitchen table. "I feel like I am being left out," I said. "I miss spending time with you and the girls." Denise sighed like I was being dramatic. "You are always tired from work," she said. "You would not enjoy the things we do anyway. We are just trying to let you rest." "But I do not want to rest," I said. "I want to be included." She patted my hand the way you might pat a child who does not understand something simple. "We will try to include you more," she said. Nothing changed. The second year was worse. The exclusion became more blatant, and the excuses became thinner. Brooke turned 17 and wanted a birthday party. I offered to help plan it, to set up decorations, to grill burgers in the backyard. Denise told me that Brooke wanted a girls-only party with her friends, and that I should make myself scarce for the evening. I ended up sitting in my car in a parking lot for 4 hours, scrolling through my phone while my daughter celebrated without me in the house I paid for. Thanksgiving that year was the breaking point for my extended family. My parents always hosted, and they expected us to attend like we had every year since I was born. But Denise announced 2 weeks before that she had booked a girls-only trip to San Francisco for Thanksgiving weekend. I was stunned. "Thanksgiving is a family holiday," I said. "My parents are expecting us." Denise shrugged. "They will understand. The girls have been looking forward to this trip for months." Had they? This was the first I was hearing about it. I called my mother to explain, and I could hear the hurt in her voice. She did not say much, but I knew she was confused. Why would her son not be coming to Thanksgiving? I spent that Thanksgiving alone in an empty house, eating a frozen turkey dinner and watching football games I did not care about. I thought about driving to my parents' place anyway, but something stopped me. Pride, maybe, or shame. How do you explain to your mother that your wife and daughters did not want you around Christmas was not much better? Denise insisted on a girls-only Christmas Eve tradition, which involved opening presents together while I was banished to the bedroom. I came downstairs Christmas morning to find most of the presents already unwrapped. "Oh," she said, "we could not wait. You were taking too long to wake up." It was 7:30 in the morning. I started keeping track of the expenses around this time. Not because I was planning anything, but because I needed to understand where all the money was going. What I found shocked me. In the past year alone, Denise had spent over $40,000 on girls-only activities. Shopping trips, spa weekends, vacations, dinners, concerts, you name it. That was on top of the regular household expenses, the mortgage, the car payments, everything else. My salary was good, but we had almost nothing in savings. Every dollar I earned was going toward a lifestyle that excluded me entirely. I brought this up to Denise. I showed her the spreadsheet I had made, the numbers laid out clearly. "This is not sustainable," I said. "We need to cut back on some of these expenses." She looked at me like I had suggested we start eating out of garbage cans. "Are you seriously trying to control how we spend money?" she asked. "You make plenty. Stop being so cheap." Cheap. I worked 60 hours a week, I paid for everything, and I was being called cheap because I wanted my family to have a savings account. I let it go. I always let it go. Then came my 40th birthday. I did not expect a huge party. That is not really my style anyway. But I thought maybe we would go out to dinner as a family. Maybe there would be a cake. Maybe my wife and daughters would acknowledge that I existed and that I had reached a milestone birthday. The day came and nothing happened. I woke up like any other Saturday. No one said happy birthday. No one mentioned it at all. I waited through breakfast, through lunch, thinking maybe they were planning a surprise. By 5 in the afternoon, I could not take it anymore. So I said casually, "Any plans for tonight?" Denise looked up from her phone. "Actually, yes. The girls and I are going to that new Italian place downtown. Girls only, obviously. But you can order something for yourself." I felt something crack inside me. Not break, not yet. Just crack. "It is my birthday," I said quietly. The room went silent. Brooke and Madison exchanged glances. Denise's face went pale for just a second before she recovered. "Oh," she said. "Right. Well, happy birthday. We can celebrate tomorrow or something." Or something. I did not say anything else. I just nodded and walked outside to sit on the porch. I stayed there for an hour watching the sunset, listening to the sounds of my family getting ready to leave without me. When they left, Denise did not even say goodbye. That night, alone in the dark, I finally let myself feel everything I had been pushing down for 3 years. The loneliness, the rejection, the humiliation of being an afterthought in my own family. I was 40 years old, and I had never felt more invisible. The next morning, I tried one more time. I waited until Denise was having her coffee and sat down across from her. "We need to talk," I said. "About yesterday, about everything." She sighed. "Not this again." "Yes, this again," I said. "I feel like I am not part of this family anymore. I feel like you and the girls have created this whole life without me, and I am just the guy who pays for it." Denise set down her mug and looked at me, really looked at me. And what I saw in her eyes was not love or remorse or understanding. It was annoyance. "You want honesty," she said. "Fine. The girls and I have talked about this. We are happier when it is just us. You bring the whole mood down. You are always tired, always stressed, always wanting something from us. Honestly, sometimes I wish you would just leave. It would be easier for everyone." I stared at her. I could not believe what I was hearing. "You wish I would leave," I repeated. She shrugged. "I am just being honest." "You asked." I stood up and walked out of the room. I did not trust myself to speak. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight. She wished I would leave. The woman I had married, the woman I had worked myself to exhaustion, for the woman I had given everything to, wished I would leave. Fine. I did not make a scene. I did not yell or throw things or deliver some dramatic speech. I just started planning. The first thing I did was open a new bank account in my name only. I redirected my direct deposit to that account instead of the joint account. Denise would not notice immediately, since she rarely paid attention to when exactly money came in. She just spent it when it was there. Next, I quietly started removing my name from the bills. The mortgage was trickier since both our names were on the house, but everything else was simpler. The utilities, the internet, the streaming services, all of it had been in my name. I called each company and canceled the automatic payments. I also contacted a divorce lawyer. I explained the situation, the years of exclusion, the emotional neglect, the statement about wishing I would leave. He took notes and said I had a solid case. Over the next 2 weeks, I moved my personal belongings to a storage unit, 1 carload at a time. My clothes, my important documents, the few things that were actually mine. It was depressing how little I had accumulated that was just mine. Almost everything in the house belonged to the family I was apparently not part of. I picked my moving day carefully. It was a Friday when Denise and the girls were leaving for another girls-only weekend this time to a beach resort in California. The trip cost $3,000 charged to a credit card that I had just closed. They left Friday morning. Denise did not even look at me when she walked out the door. "Have fun," I said. She waved her hand dismissively. The moment their car turned the corner, I started loading the rest of my things. By Friday evening, I was gone. I left my keys on the kitchen counter with a simple note. "You wished I would leave. I am leaving. Good luck." I drove to a hotel and checked in for the weekend. I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in years. The fallout started Monday. Denise came home Sunday night to an empty house and a note she probably did not understand at first. Monday morning, she tried to use the credit card at a gas station. Declined. She tried the other cards. Declined. She checked the bank account. Almost empty. My phone exploded with messages and voicemails. At first, Denise was confused, then angry, then furious. "What did you do?" she screamed in one voicemail. "You cannot just take all the money and leave. We have bills, we have expenses. You are going to ruin us." I listened to all of them, but did not respond. There was nothing to say. By Wednesday, the utilities were shut off. No one had paid the electric bill, and the grace period had expired. Denise had to scramble to get things turned back on using money she did not have. She called her parents, who were not wealthy but agreed to help. She called my parents, who politely told her they supported whatever decision I had made. Brooke and Madison were suddenly very interested in where their father had gone. They texted me first with anger, then with confusion, then with something that almost looked like concern. "Dad, where are you?" Madison wrote. "Mom is losing it. The house is a mess. We do not have any money." I wrote back one simple response. "Ask your mother about the girls' only rule. Ask her what she said to me on my birthday." I do not know if they ever did ask. But the texts changed after that. Became less accusatory, more desperate. A month after I left, Denise filed for divorce. She tried to claim I had abandoned the family, but my lawyer had documentation of everything. The years of exclusion, the financial records showing I had paid for everything, the text messages proving I was systematically pushed out of family life. The judge was not sympathetic to her. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. Denise got the house, but she could not afford the mortgage without my income. She had to sell it within a year and move into a much smaller apartment. The girls, now forced to adjust to a different lifestyle, were suddenly very aware of how much their father had actually contributed. The first few months after leaving were hard. Even when you know you made the right decision, there is still grief. I had lost my marriage. More painfully, I had lost my relationship with my daughters, or at least the relationship I thought we had. Looking back, maybe that relationship had been gone for years, and I was just the last one to admit it. I stayed in a small apartment on the other side of town. I kept working, but I cut my hours back. For the first time in years, I was not killing myself to support people who did not want me around. I started using that extra time for myself. I joined a gym. I reconnected with old friends who had drifted away during my marriage. I even took up woodworking, something I had always wanted to try, but never had the time or energy for. Slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Not the exhausted provider, not the invisible father, just me. It was strange and unfamiliar at first. I had spent so long defining myself by what I gave to others that I had forgotten who I was when I was not giving. About 8 months after the divorce, Brooke reached out. She was 19 now, in her first year of college, paying for it with loans since there was no college fund anymore. Her message was longer than any text she had sent me in years. She told me she was sorry. She said she had not realized how bad things were, how much Mom had been manipulating everyone, how much she had taken me for granted. She asked if we could meet for coffee. I agreed. We met at a small cafe near her campus. She looked older, more tired, like someone who had been forced to grow up quickly. We talked for 2 hours. She cried. I almost did too. I am not going to pretend everything is fixed, I told her. What happened those years of being shut out, that does not just go away. But I am willing to try if you are. She nodded. I am, she said. I really am. Madison took longer. She was still living with Denise, still caught up in her mother's version of events. But about a year after the divorce, she called me. She was struggling, she said. Mom was dating again, bringing different men around, not paying attention to her. She felt alone. Now you know how I felt, I said. Not to be cruel, just honest. There was a long silence. Then she said, I know. I'm sorry, Dad. We are working on it. Both of them. It is slow and there are setbacks, but we are trying. I do not know if we will ever have the relationship I dreamed of when they were babies. That dream died a long time ago. But maybe we can build something new. Something based on honesty and mutual respect, instead of me giving everything while they took. As for Denise, I have not spoken to her since the divorce was finalized. I heard through mutual friends that she struggled for a while, then found a new man to support her. I hope for his sake that she treats him better than she treated me. But honestly, I doubt it. Some people do not change. They just find new people to use. Looking back, I wish I had stood up for myself sooner. I wish I had not let 3 years go by convincing myself that it would get better, that if I just worked harder or gave more, they would finally see my value. The truth is, some people will never see your value no matter what you do. And you cannot love someone into treating you right. You can only decide how long you are willing to be mistreated before you walk away. I learned something important through all of this. Your worth is not determined by how much you sacrifice for others. It is not measured by how many bills you pay, or how many hours you work, or how much you give up. Your worth is inherent. It exists whether people acknowledge it or not. And if the people in your life cannot see it, that is their failure, not yours. These days I am doing okay. More than okay, actually. I have a small house of my own now, one I bought with money I saved by not funding shopping sprees and spa weekends. I have my woodworking, my friends, my slowly rebuilding relationships with my daughters. I have peace. If you are watching this and you see yourself in my story, if you are the one working and sacrificing while your family pushes you aside, I want you to hear this. You deserve to be included. You deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to be more than an ATM with a pulse. And if the people in your life cannot give you that, you have every right to walk away and find people who will. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been treated like you were invisible by the people who should have loved you most? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and I think it helps all of us to know we are not alone. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like. It helps more than you know. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss future stories. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Sometimes knowing that someone else went through the same thing is the first step toward finding the courage to make a change. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And remember, you are worth more than how people treat you. You always have been. Take care of yourselves.